Hey everyone, welcome back. And in this video, let's code some arrays in the Java. So in the previous video, we have seen what are arrays and how they work. So in this video, we are going to basically code arrays in Java. So without wasting any time, let's start with the video. So in order to create an integer array, what I can say integer and then the square parentheses or square brackets. Okay. And then I can say that this is num. Okay. And then I can say new integer, right? And the size is 5 basically. And then what I can do, I can terminate it, right? So what this statement does is basically creates an array for me in the memory. Okay. Now what I can say that hey compiler, oh sorry, hey Java, do one thing. Put the first element to be let's say 1, which is the 0th index. Then do one thing, on the first index put a value of 2, then on the second index put the value of 3, then on the third index put the value 4, and then similarly I can say num at 4 is 5, and let's say num at 5 is equals to 6. Now see carefully that this particular number is getting highlighted, okay, and it says array index out of bounds. Basically we have created an array which is of size 5 and we have already stored 5 elements. So what happens if I try to store one more variable? Basically it will throw an error, okay. Basically it will throw an error. So if I run this program, see what happens. I'm getting an exception that index 5 out of bounds for length 5. Basically it says that hey, you have only made an array for 5 numbers and you are trying to show 6 numbers in it, so that's not legal. So I have removed it. Now what I can do, let's do an s out, basically system.out.println of num, okay, num at 3. So what do you think will be the output? So I think 4 should be the output, right? So if I run this program, as you can see what we are getting 4 as the output. Similarly if I say that hey, give me the element 4, so now as you can see I'm getting element 5. Just a second, where it has gone, yeah, here. So as you can see we are getting 5 here, right? So because we stored 5 here, so I can say like 500 maybe. So if I run it again, so I'll be getting 500. What if I try to store Piyush here? I'm getting an error. So if you read the error, required type integer and you have provided me a string. Hey, what are you doing? So arrays are basically homogeneous. Now one thing that I want to show you is a debugger, okay? So when you're working with a large project and you have basically so many arrays going on here and there, and you want to basically debug like what that particular array contains, so what you can do is this IntelliJ has a debugger built into it. So what I want to do is basically like you see these line numbers here, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and at this point basically at 8th point you can see that our array is complete. So what I'll do, I can say that hey, do one thing, put a debugger, basically a debugger on the 9th line, okay. So yeah, sorry, 9th line was empty, so like basically put a debugger on the 10th line. Now as soon as I click on the 10 number, this line turns red. Basically I'm telling that hey, debugger, do one thing, start the execution and go till the line number 8. Basically this particular line will not be executed, okay. Now what you can do is you can see this bug here, right? So this is for debug. So if you click on this particular button, your debugger will start and you can clearly see that you have a array nums, okay, and this particular nums is basically a collection in array. And if I expand this, you can see that on the 0 you have 1 2 3 4 5 and 500 like this, okay. Let's say I put a debugger on this particular line. Even this is showing you here also, like that this particular array contains a nums at like 1 2 3 4 500. So this is really smart, okay. Now let's put a debugger here and stop this debugger and let's start this debugger again. Now see what happens. This particular line has not been executed, so I'm not getting anything into my memory. So currently there is only one variable, that is this string args, okay, and nothing is in the memory. Now let's go to the second line. So for going to the next line, click on this particular button. Now I have came one line forward. So at this particular point, when this line is executed, you can see that a variable is created at nums and all the values are 0 because these values have not been executed yet. So let's go one more step further. Now as you can see, I have put the value of 0 and all the other values are basically 0. Now let's go one step over. So as you can see, now my array is slowly building up. Now I have got 2, then 3, then 4, then 500, and then at the end what I do a system.out.println, which basically gives me this number. So that's how you can debug your memory. What do you have in memory and how that things are stored. So that's how you can put things in the memory. You can even override them. Like I can say that nums at 3 is now 10. Okay. Let's stop the debugger. And now if I say that nums at 3, let's remove this red line also. Now if I play, basically run this code, now I'm getting 10. So I first put the 4 there and then I overrided the value. That's why I'm getting 10 now. Okay. So that's how you can put things into the array. You can retrieve things from the array. So array, homogeneous collection, continuous storage, and basically a collection of things. So this was an example for integers. So similarly, what you can do, you can have strings also. Like I can say, let's try it with boolean. So I can say boolean, okay, an array, bools equals new booleans, right? And the size, let it be 3. So I can say that bools at 0 can be true because I can only show true false values now, right? And similarly, I can say that bools at 1 equals to false, and like that's it. Like you got the point, right? Now there's one more method to populate or to put the data in the array. Okay, so what you can do is you can say like integer, let's say nums, okay, and I can say new int. Now let's say I don't want to specify the size. So what I can do is I can put up curly braces here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, and I can say like 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what this will do is this will automatically create an array with the size 4, because this particular statement knows that okay, you are trying to put 4 values. So let me create a variable array with size 4. So you can specify, okay, but you don't need to specify. Okay, so if I don't specify the number, the size, it will automatically calculate the size based on this numbers and will put up in the this nums variable. And there are more things that you can do. Basically, like I can do like if I say nums at 1, so you know this is 0, this is 1, you'll get 5, right? As you can see, you can even do more things. You can say dot length. Okay, now if I say dot length, see what happens. I'm getting 4. Now what is this 4? This 4 is basically the length of this array. So if I add more numbers to it and I say run, now as you can see, my length is coming to be 6. So basically you can do this as well. So there are many methods that are available to you. You have toString method, you have basically the length that we have seen. So there are a couple of methods that we'll be discussing and using in the upcoming videos. So feel free to play around with the arrays and try to understand arrays more. So that's it for this video. Let's meet you in the next video. Until then, bye bye, take care.